Grandad's ashes at a certain point, but the car gets into an accident because Ben was driving, hits a car driven by the Levels, Ruth Madeley. They end up in a pub, landlorded by Mark Benton, and it's basically all these different plot lines are going on at once, as you often get in Outnumbered.
I think they tried a bit too hard to be, the phrase I always use that I dislike, they're overtly comic bits. So I didn't like the Gary Spaz or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Mickey Spaz.
Mickey Spaz, let's say. And I absolutely hated the scene with the army reenactment stuff.
Yes.
Because it was so out of place, it was so unnecessary, and I was feeling quite warm and enjoying it, and then all of a sudden they wreck it again by having this daft comedic moment that everybody in the room I was watching it with was completely unaffected by, didn't, find it funny at all.
All the kids are growing up, Luke. Did you realise that? Did you notice?
They all had new older heads. I noticed
even though they have got new older heads, they sort of maintain the characteristics of their younger selves. So Karen was being very manipulative, and Ben was still very clumsy and stuff like that, crashing the car and stuff. And then you had Jake, who was basically trying to break up with his girlfriend.
It was like knowing these people in school and then meeting up for them after years and being able to see hints of the people they were and also the people they're going to be. I liked it, I didn't love it, and those bits kind of spoilt it for me. I liked the sort of tongue-in-cheek comedic moments, like Mark Benton being really pleased that someone might have to use the disabled toilets that they put in. I don't love Hugh Dennis, but I thought he did a really good job actually in the role, and Claire Skinner was very good. And
would you like it to come back maybe say every 2 or 3 years just to sort of catch up with them?
Yeah, as long as
because as we know, Jake's off to New Zealand now in terms of the plot.
I just hope that they don't do these in-your-face comedy moments, because it doesn't need it. It's a family sitcom about real people lives, and it doesn't need those big moments. That is it because do you reckon it's because it's on over Christmas? They reckon, there might be casual fans who don't watch it normally. We better put in a bit comedy because that's what they'll be expecting. Maybe. Jonathan Creek, quickly. Yeah, we can. I mean, I don't think David Renwick should be writing for television now. I think it feels very old hat and very out of place on the modern BBC.
In fact, wasn't it the mystery of the old hat that they was? Oh no,
no, it was not. The mystery in Sherlock with the guy in the car seemed like something Jonathan Creek would have investigated years ago and not been bogged down in the Thatcher bus thing. But no, I think this felt out of place in the schedules. I think it felt old before its time. I think Sarah Alexander and Alan Davis have the least amount of screen chemistry I've ever seen in a TV couple. I don't believe them. I don't like them.
He had much better chemistry with all of his previous female co-stars.
Every one of them.
I have to say, I quite like Warwick Davis, though, as the vicar.
I thought he was brilliant. I think
he was the best thing.
The best things about this for me were Warwick Davis playing sort of against type. I thought he was very funny and very likeable. I also like the young girl who I hadn't seen before.
Does that mean that you don't like him?
No, it's just I haven't seen him in anything where he's been as good as this.
He doesn't really do a lot where he's not himself now, does he, really? There's a lot of
the sort of clips I saw was that's clearly Warwick Davis playing Warwick Davis.
No, I liked it.
No, he was good. I like a spin-off with Warwick Davis now, just...
Yeah, and no, Warwick Davis should be Jonathan's new companion, that's what we need. And I just thought the whole thing about the guy who was following him to kill him was just the daftest thing ever, with him eventually dying. There was no reference to how that...
Again, I did guess it, so I mean...
Do you feel like Christmas was special enough for TV this year? Do you feel like you've been well served by what's been put on, or do you feel it's a bit underwhelming?
I think BBC had something on, even if it was Jonathan Creek, they had something on every, you had Last Tango in the build-up to Christmas, then you had the big shows on Christmas Day, then you had Witness for the Prosecution on for 2 nights, then you had Jonathan Creek, then you had To Walk Invisible. Whereas you said ITV just put on the Harry Potter films.
ITV, to me, didn't really seem to change its lineup much for Christmas.
They never do, though, really. They never really do. One more thing that I don't think we've discussed, if there's anything else, but Bake Off would be the last thing, I think. Have you got anything else on your list, Gary?
No, nothing else on my list.
What was your Go West?
The only thing that I wanted to do on Go West was there was one thing that popped up on Netflix over Christmas that I watched. It was called the OA. I've got no idea, even from watching 2 episodes, what the OA stands for. If I could compare this to anything, there is a touch of Stranger Things in this, in the sense that it's a very confusing show.
Someone said it's Stranger Things meets The Missing.
The basic plot is that a girl who's been missing for about 10 years comes home to her parents and she's no longer blind. And that's the kind of beginning of it. And then it is a very sort of middle American high school thing. It's set in Kansas. It's all very wide open spaces and empty houses and things like that. At the end of the first episode, she basically gets a collection of people together and conducts some sort of, I want to say seance-y type thing, but it's not. It's like
so your parents weren't watching it?
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't have approved. She then reveals that she was actually the daughter of a very rich Russian oligarch, and she wasn't born blind. She was blind because of a coach crash, and she actually died and came back to life.
She was part of the Returned.
There is a very Return type feel to it, because the way in which she dies when her blind is through a coach crash. She gets adopted by these parents in Kansas. It's all very strange, but it's thoroughly watchable. There are about 8 episodes, and I will keep watching and let you know how it goes on. It's made and stars absolutely nobody. The only person in it that you even recognise is Jason Isaacs, who plays the doctor. That sort of this kind of strange place that she ends up in when she goes missing. Her dad is played by the old grandfather out of The Walking Dead from the early series. Literally, it's written and directed by the stars of the show, by 2 people who actually are in the show, including the lead character.
Rick Marling.
I would recommend you watch it if you like a show where you're not told what's going on. There's no voiceover. There's no opening flashback. You are literally learning through the eyes of the people in the show what's going on.
Probably a good job she's not blind still then, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bake Off then, quick. Bake Off to end.
Oh, yes.
Basically, 2 sets of 4 bakers came back to the tent, baked 3 Christmas-themed things, and at the end of it, one was awarded Star Baker for Christmas.
They seemed like a nice, genteel way to send the Bake Off off of BBC One. To me, it was bringing back old friends, some of which I didn't recognise because I wasn't watching.
No,
Bake Off
it's a shame. I wanted to know more of them than I did.
Yeah,
but it didn't matter.
And it was just nice.
But then, Luke, you've not been, as you say, neither of you have been watching it past the past few years. So
I think I joined in 2013. So yeah.
Yeah, so people like Mary Ann and Janet, you won't remember because they were in the second series.
Even if you were fans of the show. You chose people that you're a little bit like, oh, really, them? There was Norman, obviously,
Howard.
To me, it was just a nice way to send the Bake Off off. It was, as you said, there was competition, but it didn't feel anywhere near as serious as the other Bake Offs. There was nobody going home. Let's put it that way, wasn't there? Everybody was going to be there at the end. And it was nice. And
I'm assuming this was commissioned before they lost the Bake Off.
I think they tweeted it immediately following the final.
Anyone got anything else they want to discuss?
No.
I've got other shows that I've seen, but I'll leave them because they're
quick reactions, Gary. One sentence reviews for the ones you.
Timeless, silly but watchable. Travellers, need to see more. Could be one of the more interesting things I've seen on Netflix for a long time.
Okay, that is it for
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. I'm gonna obviously I would pick Endeavour, but I have championed Walking the Himalayas and Walking the Nile, so I'll do the same with Levison Wood's new documentary series, Walking the Americas, where he walks through Florida. No, not quite. It's on 8 o'clock Channel 4 on Sunday. It's a 4-month journey beginning in Mexico and ending in Colombia. And I'm sure it will be just as entertaining as long as she doesn't get in a car, because that seems to be where the problems lie with walking anything.
I'd say for me on Forgotten on ITV on Thursday night. Is that right, Thursday?
Yes,
9 p.m.
I will go for Endeavour, but I will go for Endeavour, which is on Sunday night. But I will also say that there's a 3rd series of Uncle on BBC Three right now.
BBC Three. BBC Three
online. I know you can watch all episodes online or via your smart telly or wherever you watch your television on BBC Three. I think it's a crying shame that this won't be shown on a proper channel.
Well, it will be at some point at stupid o'clock in the morning.
But yeah, that's the point. It won't get a decent airtime.
So if you want to follow us on Twitter, then you can. Matt is the one who tweets less than Gary, so I'll do him first. At Matt's TV Bites. Gary is the one who tweets a bit more than Matt, but a bit less than me. He's at the Gary Show.
Not hard to tweet less than.
Yeah. And I am the one who tweets far more than anyone really wants me to. At Luke
That's
Custard
because
TV.
I have a full-time day job, and Gary normally has one when he's not got a poorly foot.
Yeah, and also you can subscribe to this on iTunes, meaning you will never ever miss a moment of our ramblings.
By the way, that whole idea of you having a cold and not wanting to talk much, how did that go?
I'm feeling worse than I was at the beginning of the podcast when I thought it was a good idea. Facebook.com/The Custard TV. You can visit us there as well if you want to. Give us a like.
Big news as well. Big news.
Oh, go on.
Surely there'll be a new social media outlet this year that we can put something on.
Yeah, like the new Bebo.
Yeah, well, no, not the old Bebo.
Yeah.
But surely we haven't had a major new social network for a while.
Especially since Vine's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to do a couple of 7-second podcasts on Vine.
Yeah. Maybe we need to do one on Facebook Live. That's the new thing, isn't it? You need to go live on Facebook.
Yeah, we should do a live podcast this year, like a live show, live with an audience.
Like
We're
in a
not
theatre.
doing the road show, though. That's dangerous.
We should do the road show, yeah.
Yeah, the radio.
Gary's driving.
Can I
just do all services.
Can I be the version of Smiley Miley?
No,
far too old for you. Yeah, you two are far too young.
You're far too old. You can look at
there is that.
All right, then. So that is us. Thank you for listening, and join us throughout 2017 so that we can talk to you
God
about
help you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Download this podcast from thecustardtv.com.